Little friends, I had to start all over on YouTube. Anna Dieter is here, ready to begin our podcast, our live stream that I have prepared. And I promise to you that it will be very interesting for you today. Thank you so much, Taher6871. You just joined. Yeah. So what I'm doing here, I am doing my best to do, again, multi-streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Instagram, which is a little bit challenging for me because, as you know, Instagram, I have to use my phone. It's like very narrow. So I actually recommend if you want to really learn a lot today, I recommend you go and join my live stream on YouTube, because on YouTube, I can share the whole screen and I will be sharing the view of my computer, another computer, where I will play the movie. It's very, very important that you go and join me on YouTube. So if you haven't signed up or enrolled to my YouTube channel, subscribe, please. And you're going to have a lot of information introduced today. So let me see how many people I have on YouTube. Not too many. Okay. So what is the topic for today's discussion? And as I announced yesterday, it's about the movie called The King's Speech. Today we're going to talk about it. And today I even, as you can see, I'm wearing my hat. If you look carefully at my hat, you probably can notice that on top of my hat, it's written Etalon. Here it's written Live Stutter-Free. And in the middle, there is an icon that we use for our company. It's like a energy, spinning energy, the sign of the energy, okay? And there are 4 words that you probably cannot see on my head, but it's very important to understand these words are awakening, enlightenment, education, and the third one, transformation. This is the cycle of human's life, and this is the way anyone can fix the problem. Okay, Derek Moore, you requested to be in the video. Do you really want to be in the video, Derek? Derek Moore, would you like to confirm if you, okay, view request, let me see, go live with Derek. Okay, we can do that. So Derek, you're on. If you want to talk to me, go ahead. Oh, here is Derek. Seriously, Derek. Hi, Derek. So I'm very good. I'm doing multi-streaming. I'm on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. So people on other platforms cannot see you. But yeah, go ahead if you have a question. Of course, this is my priority always.
Okay, yeah. As a lifelong stutterer, I've been looking over your programs, and I just want to know, have you come up with anything that can truly help a person stop stuttering altogether?
Of course. This is what we're going to talk about today, and this is what I have been doing for the past 10 years. Of course.
Okay.
So this is something that truly helps anyone to stop stuttering in almost no time. And why this is the case? Because We are teaching the norms, the natural speech norms that exist. And that's what we actually discovered, not I, my mentor has discovered almost 30 years ago. And when you know the norms, when you begin following the norms, guess what, Derek? Everything becomes normal. Everything normalizes like this, right away. When you do it normally, you normalize everything.
Right. Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing your
Of
teaching.
course.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk right now. I prepared the little presentation. I do recommend you go to YouTube or Facebook because you won't be able to see. I'm going to run movie, The King's Speech. Hopefully, I'm not going to get a copyright strike for doing. Hopefully not. But yeah, I prepared everything for kind of being honest because this is a fair use. I really want to discuss the movie, The King's Speech, because this is an amazing movie. We all love it, right?
I've seen it, yes.
Amazing movie. But we need to understand that this movie is great. But let me talk about it during presentation, okay?
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll just give you the kind of the bottom line that whatever Lionel Logue did almost 100 years ago, a little bit less, right? So when he worked with the speech with King George, right? So what he did, he was the first one to have used the muscle approach. He was the first one. It's going to be in the movie I'm going to run. Pure mechanics. He tried it. But the problem is that he still back then thought that stuttering was some kind of a physical abnormality and it was some kind of an illness. And that's why he believed in the necessity of tricks and the necessity of doing really weird physical exercises.
Right.
But he knew, he was a life coach. So he knew that, yes, physical exercises are very important. He knew that. But he didn't understand what kind of physical exercises are necessary. He did not know that. He did not understand how the speech muscles work. He didn't know. And this is what we add to this kind of, it's a development of Lionel Logue. I keep forgetting his name. Lionel Logue's. He started this, and we simply continued and took it to a total perfection.
Well, I look forward to hearing that. I'm going to jump over on YouTube.
Yeah, it's much better. Much better. Okay, but you know what? What's even better if you make a private appointment with me, and I will explain where your blocks are, not someone else's, your blocks.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sounds good. I'll do that.
Okay. Thank you for joining. Can you hang up on me? I don't even know how. I don't want to stop translation.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, that was unexpected, but that was very pleasant. People who come to me on the one-on-one basis are always my priority. I don't care about any group. I am going like this, one person at a time, changing lives. Okay, so let's begin what I told you I would begin with. People on YouTube, I will now share a little image here. Let me see where it is. Is this? No, I want to make it bigger. Here it is. Okay, you probably see this is one of my images. People on Instagram can see this image on my how do you call it, on my whatever where I have all the posts. I forgot the word. Okay, so you can see the post. I'll show it to you quickly. Okay, how do I switch the screen? Only for the ones who watch me on this one. I'm talking about this image. Okay, so you can see the image. Oops. And what okay, let me see, where is my, okay, where is it? I'm looking for my, there it is. It's a bigger screen, right? So I posted a couple of days ago in preparation for this session, I posted this image, and you can see a lot of pictures of happy faces of my students. Can you see them? They're all happy, okay? And in the middle of this image, I took a screenshot from the movie The King's Speech. King George VI, stuttering in front of the microphone, and a lot of people on the background are listening to him, and he's stuttering. So in reality, all people around this picture, they are graduates of the Edelon Speech and Blocking. Each and every one has stopped stuttering in almost no time, basically in 3 days. But why King couldn't do the same? What is the problem? What was the problem? And to answer this question, I want to invite you to join me on my reaction video. I'm going to make reaction video. How do I put it for you guys? Okay, I'll do it this way. Reaction video. I'm going to start doing reaction video. So let me go back to StreamYard now. Okay. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop sharing this. Okay, can you see me, guys? So let's begin with this. Could you please let me know if you watched, oops, come on. Yeah, if you watched the King's Speech movie. You know, I want you to put little pluses if you did watch the movie, and little minus if you didn't watch the movie. Could you please let me know? I just want to see who I'm talking to. Have you watched the King's Speech movie? Please let me know. Thank you, Rina. You just joined me. The King's Speech movie. How many of you have watched it? And as you are responding, and I'm waiting for your response, I am going to change this, okay, this image to the image of iMovie, and second, I don't understand. Wait a second, I want to stop it and I can't. Oh, here we go. I stopped it. Okay, I'll go back. Okay, now let me take my glasses off. In glasses, without glasses, can't see well. Here we go. I need to stop. Okay, finally I did this. So now we are ready to continue. I hope on Instagram you don't see things backwards. If you do, then once again, I really recommend you go and watch it on YouTube or Facebook. Then you're gonna see everything in the right way, I hope. So Levi just wrote to me, I am a stutterer, but I hope to get the required money. Good for you. Get the required money. I recommend. How do we get the money? By doing some work, some muscle work. So everyone who works, it's not going to be any problem for you to join the class. But of course, you need to work because I work nonstop. Those of you who have been watching me know I've been watching nonstop for the past 10 years to learn how to present this program to you, how to teach you in a much, much shorter time. We started teaching in 3 days. Today, some of our students drop stuttering in only 1 day. But let's go. Let's focus on our work today. I really would like to make a presentation for you. So I don't see, guys, if you watched the King's speech, you didn't let me know. Okay, I'm assuming that you have watched it. Okay? So, and you know that Lionel Logue was an Australian speech and language therapist who worked with King George, who stuttered. In the beginning, he did not even want to be a king because he was a severe stutterer and he was always afraid of speaking. So it was too much for him. He didn't want to become the king. But the historical events went in the way that he had to accept this position, believe it or not. Okay, those books, are they helpful? Levi, all books are helpful, of course, but I have no idea how well you can read and understand what I, as an author, wrote in those books. This is why today I do not actually even recommend people read books. I recommend they come to me and fix their speech in almost no time, because see the difference. You're going to buy the book, you're going to read the book, you're going to read it not in the correct way, you're going to be, I know how people who start to read, they get the book, okay, this is one of my books, they just go, okay, okay, I'm going to read about this. No, this is not helpful. I'm going to read about this. They go from place to place, they skip pages. It's not going to work this way. And also, we all have different skills, reading and understanding what we have read, and then applying the information we have learned from the books. It's all waste of time. It's, again, trial and error. Most of the time, when people read my books, they simply join the class. They enroll in my class. That's what people do. They read the book, excuse me, they understand the idea, the theory, and instead of fighting it, they simply come to me and drop their stuttering in 1 to 3 days. Something is in my throat and I didn't bring the water. Okay, so let's begin, my dear. You still didn't let me know, Levi, did you watch the King's speech? So the King's speech, that Australian speech therapist was an absolutely pioneer in the approach of dealing with stuttering. He was really, really good guy, but he was a life coach. Yeah, later on they gave him the title of a speech therapist because he worked with the king. Of course, he became famous. So, but I want to praise Lionel Logue as a pioneer of the one correct approach towards dealing with any speech disfluency, any imperfection of speaking, which is a muscular approach. Learning to operate muscles of your body to deal with speaking, to create accurate words. However, Lionel Logue back then still believed that people who stutter are sick people. And also, he did not understand the mechanism of speaking, how the speech muscles work. He didn't have that knowledge. he kind of had a sense of that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to work with the muscles, but he didn't know what muscles, what kind of work people are supposed to do. And this is exactly what we have done. The Etalon speech and blocking works with the people's, students' muscles, but not just other muscles in the body. We're going to talk about them right here in the movie. We simply explain the mechanism of normal speech, how we are supposed to move our tongue in order to speak normally, like everyone else on the planet. So this is the biggest difference between us and Lionel. Let me see, I have something written here. Let's see if I remember what I wanted to say. So just a few words about Logue, because it is important. He was an established speech and language therapist, and he also was an amateur stage actor. And it was long before he worked with the king. He began his professional career at Perth, Australia, where he started to develop distinctive therapy treatments for Australian World War I veterans who, after war, exhibited shell shock-induced speech impairment. As he says in the movie, he says that people lost their voices and he helped them to realize that they still have their voice. It's very interesting. And this is the part we really like about the King's speech, because Lionel Logue did an amazing job explaining that everyone has a voice. Everyone can speak, can learn to speak. That was the thing that he was the first one who started doing it. Because before him, who was helping stutterers? Doctors, physicians, that's how they call them, right? Physicians. And we're going to talk about it in the movie as well. So, Logue, aside from the traditional physical exercises, and again, traditional physical exercises, that's what he used with the king, traditional physical exercises. We'll talk about them. And they don't work, traditional physical exercises. You don't need traditional physical exercises. You need to learn what your speech muscles need to do, not all other parts of the body. So Lionel Logue found that psychology can play an even greater part in patient speech improvement. So he tried utilizing humor, patience, and sympathy among many other methods he deemed necessary. He used all his techniques in his treatment of the king, at least to some extent. Even in the article, they wrote to some extent. So once again, I want to thank Lionel Logue for starting this new approach, which is called muscular approach to elimination of stuttering once and for all, in a very, very short time. Lionel Logue said, I needed to see you all the time, every day. And Lionel was present at each and every speech of the king, because he was basically addressing some psychology, yes, but he was like a babysitter for the king. The king never learned to speak like all other normal people on the planet. Yes, he learned to read better without longer pauses, but he still needed to have that babysitter, Lionel Logue, each time he was giving the speech. So that's not, to me, to be completely free of stutter. So our program has solved this problem. Mr. Roman Snezhko has figured it out, what physical exercises need to be done by a person who stutters, and when it's done correctly, it takes only 1 to 3 days to stop stuttering once and for all, and to develop your perfect normal speech and speak like this for the rest of your life. Okay, so that was a brief information, and now it's time to begin. So I would like to present reaction video movie to the King's Speech movie. And I will talk in this movie about accurate statements that we really enjoyed. You people who stutter, I'm sure you enjoy listening to these accurate statements of Lionel Logue and, by the way, other characters in the movie. But we are also going to talk about inaccurate assumptions of the physicians and also, unfortunately, of Lionel Logue. As I said, he simply didn't know what it was. Also, if you are not going to listen to this video live, I cannot guarantee I'm going to save it for a very simple reason, because I'm going to be using the clips from the King's Speech movie. I don't know how YouTube copyright algorithm will work. I did everything I could to avoid any copyright strikes, but what do I know, right? So let's begin. Let's listen to the first accurate statement. Okay, the first accurate statement. Do you recognize this guy? This is the king. And listen to what the Lionel Logue, the speech therapist, will say. This is absolutely accurate statement. Listen.
When you talk to yourself, do you stand? No. Of course not. Well, that proves that your impediment isn't a permanent part of you.
Did you hear? I hope you did. So the question was, when you talk to yourself, do you stutter? And the king says, of course not. Do you guys relate to this? When you talk to yourself, you don't stutter. You speak just fine. And Lionel said, it means that that impediment, which is actually not an impediment, not a sickness, it's not a permanent part of you. Okay, communicate with me, guys. Write to me. Do you also experience it, that when you talk on your own, you can speak just fine? Or even if you do make mistakes, you make much less mistakes. Do you relate to this? Write to me. Communicate with me. Okay, so let's go to the accurate statement number 2. Let's look at it.
I'm willing to work hard.
Okay, it's a very, very accurate statement. The king said, I'm willing to work hard. Willing to work hard is very important, but it's also important to do the work correctly. Because you may be willing to work hard to do whatever. If you want to, let's say you want to learn how to throw the basket in the ball in the basketball. You want to work hard making scores, throwing the ball in the basket. You need to learn how to do it, but what will happen if you're going to be willing to work hard and will be willing hard to not throwing the ball in the basket, but just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and throw the ball up and catch it, throw the ball up and catch it. Will you ever learn to throw the ball in the basket? This is what I'm talking about. And this is the analogy, so you could understand this is what Lionel Logue did with the key. He did work with the muscles, but he did not teach the king the correct muscle movements, okay? And the correct muscles. He didn't work with the right muscles. So let's continue. Now you're going to hear the assumption, the first assumption, that the king first got from the physician, knighted physician, very respected physician who treated the royal family in England, okay, with a big respect. Assumption number one, watch this. You know what, I'm going to move this a little bit out of your way. Yeah, that's probably better. Let's go.
Inhale deep into your lungs, Your Royal Highness. Relaxes your larynx, does it not? Cigarette smoking calms the nerves and gives you confidence.
Did you hear that? Physician was teaching the king to inhale cigarette smoke in his lungs because he believed that cigarette smoke would relax his throat, his lungs, and he will become confident. It's like absolutely, what does it have to do with each other? And this is again the next accurate statement. It comes next. Accurate statement of, what's his name? Logue, the speech therapist who we all like. Okay, here is the accurate statement. And that's why we love the King's Speech movie.
Well, please don't do that. That's right. I believe sucking smoke into your lungs will kill you. My physicians say it relaxes the throat. They're idiots. They've all been knighted. Makes it official then.
Okay? So once again, I'm going to repeat if you didn't hear. Physicians tell the king to smoke to relax his lungs and be able to speak, okay? And Lionel Logue said this is not right. And they are, whoever told you, even though these people are knighted, it's just a title in England, they're respectful people at the very high range, okay, of physicians. And Lionel Logue called them idiots. And when the king said that they are all respectful, they're all knighted, they've been all knighted, what did he say? It makes it official that those physicians are idiots. I'm just laughing at it, but this is the way I feel as well. Of course, I do my best not to use these names because idiots, the word is too strong. I use the word that people are simply, how do I put it? They're simply mistrained. They still don't understand what normal speech is, how it happens, and how all people on the planet speak. What do they use, what muscles they use, and how these muscles work. So when you use the muscle, the correct muscle, you immediately begin speaking just like everyone else. Okay? So I got a question. Molly Mayor, what is this? I really don't understand your question. When I am alone, I'm totally fluent. Thank you, Mahmoud, sorry. Okay, so you did relate to the first right statement. You understand what I'm talking about. So let's continue. Let's see what comes next. Okay. So next, I want you to see another assumption that the King's Speech is giving to us. Assumption, again, of the physicians back then, and believe it or not, even today, some people believe that they should do this. So Let me begin. Let me play it for you, and then I'm gonna comment. Do you see this? This is the physician, by the way. He's the doctor. Do you think, I mean, how does he look for you? Does he look kind of healthy to you? Not for me. Overweight. And if you could see better image in the original video, you can see how not well his skin is. So he doesn't look actually healthy, the physician. He can barely move. He's a sick guy. What kind of a doctor he is if he cannot cure and keep himself healthy? Okay, but let's not talk about this. So what he is doing here, he is putting in the hand of the king some glass balls, little balls like marbles. Let's look.
5, 6, 7. Now, if I may take the liberty, insert them into your mouth.
Did you hear that? Insert this huge marble, 7 marbles that he gave to the king. Insert them in your mouth. That's what the physician recommended. Okay, let's go. What happened after that?
It's the classic approach. It curbed demosthenes. Read.
So what he did when the marbles were in the mouth, guess what? The only speech muscle that we have, that we create words with, anything we say, we create these words with our main muscle, which is called the tongue. And with all these marbles, the tongue got trapped. The king couldn't even move his tongue. Could not. How could he do anything, say anything? But look how, what the physician asked him to do. He asked him to read out loud with the marbles in his mouth and with the tongue tied, completely trapped. Okay, so let's continue. Let's see what the king ended up with.
Fight against those marbles, Your Royal Highness. Enunciate.
Do you understand the word enunciate? How can you enunciate? Enunciate means produce clearly. How can you enunciate when your muscle is trapped? The muscle that you are supposed to use for speaking, it's trapped. You can't. It's like in the prisoner, right? If you are tied with the ropes and someone will tell you, okay, now jump or walk or do whatever. Of course, you cannot do this. But physicians believed it, that if you put marbles in your mouth, you can begin speaking better.
A little more concentration, Your Royal Highness.
A little more concentration. Look at this face. Even more concentration. I mean, I am laughing because all you can do is just laugh today. But of course, I do feel so sorry for the king. And I feel sorry for millions of people who stutter and go through this hell of absolutely weird, unnecessary, time-consuming training with different so-called specialists. So, of course, what was the end of this? You probably remember if you watch the movie. Okay, where is it? Let's see what's the end of this practice.
When did the defect start?
Okay, went a little bit ahead. Okay, so once again, as you can see that this is assumption, that was a wrong assumption. Of course, it's never gonna work. Okay, let me move back a little bit. Okay, that's enough. So Mahmoud wrote, I'm waiting the assumption when king speaks side by side with doctor and stutterers disappear. Oh, I did not include that part. You're talking about when he is reading, right? He is reading, he's doing his speech, he's reading, he's not speaking, he's reading. You gotta understand that reading and speaking, they, of course, are kind of, yeah, related, but speaking, I mean, reading out loud is only one speech mode, only one. You can learn to read, yes, but it doesn't mean that you can speak just like without any preparation. And this is exactly what Lionel did. He taught the king to read somehow with all the markings on the page, with all the, like he was like a conductor walking in front of him, telling him what to do. He was babysitting. He was like a babysitter with the king. He was present at each moment, at each speech that the king was giving to the nation. The king never stopped stuttering, never. In reality, he only learned how to read the speeches, excuse me, and he was doing it only after a lot of rehearsals with his babysitter, Lionel Logue. Okay, and he wouldn't even read any speech on radio if Lionel Logue wasn't there, conducting him what to do, telling him what to do. Because Lionel Logue didn't know how to do it. But let's go to this. This is the next accurate statement of Lionel Logue that was actually absolutely revolutionary. Okay, revolutionary. And that's what we absolutely love about this movie. So unfortunately, he uses words like defect. I don't use the word defect because I know, I don't believe, I know each and every person who stutters doesn't have any defects. Each and every person who stutters has exactly the same talent for speaking, just like everyone else on the planet. You can speak normally right now. You could start speaking normally right now if you knew how to do it, if you learned how to do it. Okay? But unfortunately, you still don't know it. You're still guessing. You're still speculating. Oh, Terrence! Oh, love you, Terrence. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for joining me. Love you. Terrence is one of my former students, and he's one of my best students. Love him to pieces. Say hi to your wife and 2 kids. When we worked together, his youngest kid was still not there. The mommy was still pregnant. And today it's a beautiful girl, right, Terrence? Okay. So let's continue. The next very important statement that was done by the King's speech. Love it to pieces. Listen, ignore the word defect, of course. It's not a defect, but that's how he looked at it. Stuttering was a defect to him.
Defect start.
He asked, when did this defect start? And the king is like, he had a temper, of course. And he's saying, I've always been this way.
Always been this way, right? It's my field. I can assure you no infant starts to speak with a stammer.
Okay. So he said, no infant on the planet starts to speak with a stammer. I am not going to take this because this is actually not accurate. I just wanted you to understand that the accurate statement was that it's not part of his, it's not permanent. He's not broken. He's not sick. It's not an illness, right? So it's not permanent. But what's very important to understand that all infants start to speak with a stuttering Each and every infant has no clue how to speak. This is why infants, babies begin listening and imitating the whatever noises he or she hears around. Have you heard about feral children? Feral children are the ones who were born in the family of people and then were, for some reason, were raised by animals. There are so many cases of feral children on Google. You can Google feral children. It's amazing. If you see that people born in humans' family and then never saw humans after that and were raised, by the way, by dogs, these people only learn to bark and behave like dogs. It's really not easy to teach them to speak after that. If they miss this time, and it did happen actually. I have a whole video made about these feral children, and how a young girl was raised by the dog because her parents were alcoholics. But I'm not going to talk about it right now. We're going to focus on this. Okay, if you want, you can go Google, how do you call that video? Feral children. I forgot, but you can find it. It's on my channel. Okay. So once again, we all are born not knowing how to do anything. Every little thing we begin doing, we need to learn. And we need to learn to do these things with our muscles. We learn how to chew food. We learn, they call it a reflex. Yeah, there is a sucking reflex. They call it, okay, but that's about it. Then we learn to chew food. We learn how to sit, how to crawl, how to walk, how to swim, to ride a bike, how to do anything, including writing and speaking. We learn to operate our muscles when we want to learn to do this specific action, perform this action. So this is why each and every infant begins with stuttering. They go like, agu, agu, agu. They repeat the same, or pa, 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 pa. This is stuttering, right? This is stuttering. So, but the more the infant hears, okay, whatever is around, and the more he hears and begins to imitate, just like a parrot. See, behind me, there is a picture of a parrot, okay? That's how we learn, just like parrots. The more a baby listens and the more accurately he or she imitates these words, the more he likes it because it brings benefit to him, right? It's very beneficial. If I say, mommy will come to me and pick me up, right? Or hug me. If I say, mommy, give, the mommy will give me something. This is how children, young children, learn to speak. Okay, so this is what, once again, each and every infant starts to speak with a stammer. Okay, so another accurate statement, I don't even remember what it is. Let's listen.
My husband has mechanical difficulties with his speech.
Physical exercises are important.
Okay, so if you heard what they said, that the queen said, my husband has physical difficulties with his speech. Yes, that's what it is. You all have physical difficulties with your speech. Why? Because you use wrong muscles when you attempt to speak. And even if you do use the right muscles, you don't know how to do it. You have no idea, because most of you have been through so many types of training where you've done a lot of things that you're going to see. I'm going to be running here. It's muscles, but it's kind of not what you need to stop stuttering, because normal speech is being produced with only one precise muscle. One muscle. Guess what it is? Write it down to me. What is the muscle, guys? Write it down. Yeah, the same as walking. You're absolutely right. Sorry, guys, I don't read kind of, I'm so into my presentation, I forget to read your comments. Apologize. Exactly like walking. Yeah. Muscles, muscles, muscles. Okay. So the queen was absolutely right. She said, my husband has mechanical, physical difficulties with his speech. And the speech therapist, Lionel said, physical exercises are important. He was the very first one who said that, are very important. And I agree with him. So we continued, my mentor, Mr. Roman Snezhko, has continued developing this direction. But now let's look what Lionel assumed, what kind of mechanics, what kind of exercises are important, what kind of tricks. He was also talking about tricks because he believed people who stutter are sick. Okay, the next assumption, watch.
You want mechanics? We need to relax your jaw muscles, strengthen your tongue by repeating tongue twisters, for example.
Did you hear? Relaxing jaw muscles, straightening the tongue by saying tongue twisters. Look at me. I'm gonna speak like right now. My jaw is completely locked. My jaw is tense, but I'm still speaking. There are a lot of people who speak this way, but they're still speaking. Guess why? Because they still are moving their tongue. Some people could be trained, like puppeteers. Sometimes they speak without even moving their lips. They train themselves to move only their tongue, and when they speak, you can't even see that they're moving their tongue. I can't do it because I haven't been trained to do it. But I'm pretty good, right? I can do it. Who cares about your jaw? Forget about your jaw muscles. The jaw muscles only exist for us to bite food. Huh? Huh? Open our mouth and bite the bread. That's it. We don't need our jaw muscles for anything else. Straightening the tongue with the tongue twister. Listen to the tongue twister. Lionel gave an example of how, that king needed to learn. Look at this sound. Listen to it.
Example, I'm a thistle sifter. I have a sieve of sifted thistles and a sieve of unsifted thistles because I'm a thistle sifter.
Have you ever heard this tongue twister? I am sure I cannot say this tongue twister, and I'm fine. I'm not a stutterer. So Lionel Logue was making a lot of assumptions, but he was a pioneer. He was just going through this. He knew, he guessed there was something wrong with the muscles. The king needed to train the muscles, but he didn't know what muscles, how to train them. He didn't know that. Okay, so let's see what's next.
Fine.
Okay, and the king said, fine, I'm ready to work. Yes, let's do it. And this is what they started doing. Okay, let me see. I have more people writing to me. Okay, Terrence wrote, I love you. I love you too, Terrence. And your wife and your kids. because you guys are amazing people. I love you all. There's so many amazing people among you. It's time we stop this genocide. Sorry to say this word, genocide. Okay? Just killing people, brilliant people on the planet. A lot of them are people who stutter because when you cannot speak like everyone else on the planet, you hate yourself. You are always in a negative mood. And stuttering is an informational virus. I call it the mind cancer. You are destroying yourself and your own life. This is reality, guys. And until you stop, awaken from this nightmare, that's why I have this thing on my head, the energy spinning, enlightenment. This is what I am doing here. I'm enlightening you. Okay, enlightenment, education, transformation. This is what our program is doing to you. So you could live stutter-free, not in some time in the future, in 1 day or 3 days, better 3 days. I still like having more time. Okay, so someone else wrote to me, let me, second, let me see. Does normal breathe should be taken before speech from nose or mouth? Mahmoud, we're going to talk about it right. Actually, you ask, I'll talk about it. Muscle is the tongue. Thank you, Mahmoud. That tongue, yay! I even have one toy I play when I teach my student is this one. La, 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 la. Nothing else. That's what our speaking is. It's the movement of the tongue, nothing else. But what kind of movements of the tongue? You gotta understand it. It's totally different from the way we operate our hand when we make the movement of our hand to write one letter at a time. This is completely different. Our tongue is powerful. When the tongue moves, it creates from 2, sometimes up to 5 sounds in one motion. One motion. What it is, come to me. I'll be happy to explain it to you. But you gotta come to me. Without me, you'll be continuing struggling. This is my toy. Goodbye. Okay, let's continue. You will never build the tongue muscle if you speak wrong. Yes, yes, you got it. See, I told you, you guys are so smart. And this is exactly what's happening. If you're going to be focusing on some breathing practice, relaxation practice, you will never, ever learn to speak because it doesn't matter. Breathing is none of our business. We can breathe even in our sleep. Guys, when you sleep, Mahmoud, when you sleep, who is doing breathing for you? Who? Do you breathe? Of course. Breathing is none of our business. It's God's business, Mother Nature's business. It happens on its own. The worst thing you can do when you destroy your attention by focusing on breathing instead of focusing on natural and normal movements of your tongue. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we all are doing when we're speaking. It's all about the tongue. But tell me, write to me, YouTubers, write to me your mind. Yes, yes, thank you. So write to me. Have you ever been to a speech therapist who would explain to you how to use the tongue in the naturally correct way to produce from 2, not 1, from 2 to 5 sounds in one motion. Have you ever learned to do that? Have you ever been taught to do that? No, I know you have not. This is why you still struggle. This is why you still are confused. But sorry, guys, we kind of got away from the movie. So, Mahmoud, once again, no, you don't need to do any breathing exercises. And believe it or not, this is what Lionel Logue was doing with the king. I feel really sorry for the king. So I'm going to be showing short clips and stopping because, once again, I'm really paranoid about the copyright strike. Okay.
You do have a flabby tummy, so we'll spend some time strengthening your diaphragm.
Okay. So how many people around have a flabby tummy? A lot. In the United States of America, I would say 50% of people are kind of a little bit overweight and have flabby tummies. But they speak. They don't stutter. Diaphragm, please understand, diaphragm is the bottom muscle. The diaphragm is the muscle that separates our lungs from the intestines. That's what it is. And our diaphragm works automatically. It's none of our business. It's simply the bottom of the, how can I compare it to what? Like imagine the balloon, okay? See the balloon. Here is the balloon, the skin of the balloon, okay? On the bottom, that's what the diaphragm, the bottom part of the balloon. So when the balloon is flying up to the skies, no matter how much you would be kind of straightening the bottom of the balloon, it's still gonna be flying up or not if you don't put helium gas inside of it. So it just completely doesn't make sense. Diaphragm has nothing to do with speaking correctly. Once again, there is only one muscle in your body that is responsible for every single word we say, and it is the tongue. Okay? I know it because I've been doing it for over 10 years, and each and every graduate from the Etalon and Blocking speech and blocking course has been 100% success, each and every one. Each and every one. Okay, no exception. When they leave me, I don't know what's happening to them. If they ever have continue experiencing difficulties, I'm always available. Come back to me. Come back to me. I'll straighten your mind. Not the tongue, the mind. The tongue doesn't need to be straightened. The mind does. So when the mind is straightened, it's gonna be controlling the tongue, doing the right things, and stuttering will disappear instantly. 1 to 3 days. Okay, so strengthening the diaphragm is actually also a wrong assumption, inaccurate assumption. But once again, what did he know? He didn't know back then. He was a pioneer.
Simple mechanics.
Yeah, mechanics. Okay. So after that, I actually didn't write anything anymore because after that, I want to play this part. Eyes are also blocked due to stuttering. You're absolutely right. You are so good, Zah. I don't know how to say your name. You wait. Okay. Eyes also blocked due to stuttering. No, I mean, you got it right, but kind of backwards. You're not, who is using your eyes? You are using your eyes incorrectly, and this is why you block your speech. This is why you stutter, because you use incorrectly your eyes. I am here to tell you how to use your eyes, why you need to use them this way, why when we speak, not about things that we are looking at, not reading, we don't need our eyes. And our eyes shouldn't be moving, period. You don't need your eyes. But when you talk about things that you looking at, of course you need your eyes. But again, you need to understand how to use your eyes. Okay, let's see what's next. So here is the part that made me crazy when I watched it. That made me, I wanted to scream on top of my lungs, stop this torture of people who stutter. Okay, so I'm gonna just run it. Hopefully YouTube is not gonna scream at me, but I'm gonna make it a little bit not as noise. Algorithm probably will still catch it. But it is a reaction. YouTube, this is a reaction movie. It's a fair use. Look at what these people are doing, what the therapist is teaching this patient, as he called him, actually, a student. That's how I call my students, to do. Relaxation, number one. Loosen the jaw. Who cares about the jaw? I already explained it to you. Bounce, relax, jump, all kinds of strange, time-consuming muscle training. Why do you need to jump? I mean, I can jump and move my tongue. I need to know what my tongue does. And it has nothing to do with jumping, bouncing, whatever. It doesn't matter. I want you to see what I see. Guys, write to me if you understand what I'm talking about. I always like feedback. Please give me your feedback. Up and down, up and down. And while jumping up and down, is he speaking? Nope. Is he training his tongue? Nope. But just to kill the time, now they are relaxing the lips. Why? For what? When we speak, lips don't even matter. We don't care about lips because lips always follow the movements of the tongue. The tongue is the boss in our speech instrument, and lips just follow. Okay? So once again, this is again the wrong assumption.
Take a nice deep breath.
Once again, take a nice deep breath. For what? It's not necessary.
Expand the chest.
Expand the chest. See, Lionel did focus on training the muscles, but he was training the wrong muscles. Wrong muscles. And unfortunately, all the speech therapists, pathologists after that grabbed it and started doing the same because they also don't know what normal speaking is. What is it that, what stuttering really is? They don't understand it and they don't even hide it, as you know. You can go anywhere to the conventional source of information and you can see no one knows what stuttering is, but speech therapists may help. May. This is the key word, may help. Okay, let's see what else they did.
Put your hands on your ribs.
Put your hands on your ribs. Now they're focusing on ribs. What does it have to do with our tongue, our speech muscles? He didn't know.
Deeper, good.
And he once again, breathe deeper, breathe in deeper. Good, good, good. Do you know that when you take in the deep breath, you cannot speak. You block your speech instrument. You block it. See, I even started coughing, but this is what you do when you train yourself to breathe. My students sometimes come to me and all they can do, they breathe. Breathe in, breathe in. I'm like, stop, forget about breathing, begin moving your tongue. And they're like, I need to move my tongue, Please understand, speaking is a very simple, but very precise action of one muscle in the body. One, of course, it's coordinated with all other muscles when you do it right. But one muscle, it's called the tongue. And only my mentor and I can teach you this precise, very precise movements of the tongue based on the natural laws. Natural laws. We didn't invent those technique. It's called the ringtone technique, if you want to know the name. Ringtone technique, which is about how many sounds our tongue creates when it moves in our mouth. One movement of the tongue, one ringtone. Okay, so how many sounds are in these ringtones? Come to me, I'll explain, show it to you, and explain to you. So once again, see, poor king is laying down on the floor. That king is laying down on a dusty floor in some kind of weird office of this speech therapist who was not as rich back then. He was a very poor man attempting to get an actor's job and getting declined all the time because he was already too old for this job. Okay? So let's continue. What else? Yeah. See, this is the part where it makes me just almost cry. Look what he did. He put the queen on top of the king. How humiliated it. I mean, what a humiliation. She put his wife on the husband, the wife on the husband, so the king would relax, would strengthen his muscles, chest muscles. They make it fun, of course. The queen was very smart, of course. The queen is still, of course, is the Queen Elizabeth, right? It's the same queen, but she was young here. So let's see what that Lionel Logue did with the queen and the king.
And slowly exhale, and down comes her Royal Highness.
All right, Bertie. This is actually quite good fun.
Did you see that? Yes! Yes! Of course! This is just, I don't know even how to call that a name. To me, it's just torture of the king. It's total torture, okay? So, and she just says, to comfort him, it's actually quite a fun, right? Okay, let's continue. Now let's talk about this. Guess what is he doing? Is it normal speaking? This is stuttering. Training the speech muscles to stutter. Lionel tried. He was a pioneer. He didn't know how to do it right. He tried. So
Manufacturing, Jack and Jill.
now the next thing is Jack and Jill. Again, training the muscles, but what kind of muscles? We don't need to train these muscles. There is one little muscle in the body that we do need to train. And this is what Mr. Roman Snezhko, an independent scientist who lives in Russia, doesn't speak English. He has figured it out, what muscles need to be trained. By the way, Lionel Logue also was not kind of recognized. He also was not kind of legally allowed to serve the king. If you remember, that was in the video where the king found out that Lionel wasn't a doctor, he wasn't knighted, he didn't have any license as a doctor. But the king still made a decision not to part with Lionel, and as they say, they became friends for the rest of their life. Okay? So again, Jack and Jill doing exercises for the whole body. It doesn't have to happen. It's time consuming and it's useless, basically. Okay? Very much so.
Jack and Jill went up the hill. Listeners.
And now look at this. Loosen the shoulders. Loosen the shoulders. Do we speak with shoulders? No, we don't. We speak with the tongue. And in order to never tense the tongue, you need to learn to move it in the correct way. That's all. And this is the most humiliating. The most. When he rolls the king on the floor back and forth. Poor king. I felt so sorry for him. By the way, actors are absolutely amazing. They are a bunch of absolutely talented people. Stunning, if I can say it, actors. So, after rolling on the floor, do you think he learned to move his tongue? Of course not. Okay, and now he's screaming. This is what I need to talk about. Look at this screaming. This is absolutely insane. Hi, Zeno. Hi, guys, write down your questions. I will get to your questions. Let me see. Someone wrote something to me on YouTube. Let me quickly look. Okay. Your book is excellent, and I understand proper things. What your book is excellent, and I understand proper things, wouldn't understand alone many things. Okay, so Mahmoud bought my book. Yeah. And this is why he writes here that my book is excellent. But you know, Mahmoud, you're still here. It means you need to come to me. Because, you know, the books are excellent. Yes, the general information is excellent. And what I'm sharing is excellent. But it's general. It's for all. You need to get the piece of information that will work only for you. Only, not for others. I create a customized plan, educational plan for each and every student that I work with. Customized plan that tailored exactly to your unique specific needs. This is why it works in only 1 or 3 days. Only. And also, if you don't understand, if you forgot something, I'm always available. You always can come back to me and ask, and I will be happy to explain it again and again and again. I am a teacher. I am a teacher. I know that sometimes students need to hear the same concept several times with different words. And I am a master of explaining the same things with different words. I have mastered this skill. Both my mentor and I, we can explain it to you in sometimes even in 1 day. Most of the time, we still recommend 3 days, at least 2, but 3 is, of course, much better. Okay, so let's continue. Is that the movie The King's Speech? Yes, that's the movie The King's Speech. If I don't get a copyright strike, then you can watch it again from the beginning. Hopefully, they're not gonna delete it from YouTube, and I'm gonna do my best to keep it on Instagram, if anything, Facebook. We'll see. I never know these things. So let's continue. What else? Oh, I wanted to talk about screaming. No matter how much you may be screaming vowels, because that's what they're about to do here. They're screaming vowels in the open window. Do you remember that part of the King's Speech? Do you? Yes. They're screaming vowels. Ah, oh, in the open windows. Guys, this is not speaking. When we speak, we always have to produce from 2 sounds to sometimes 5 or 6 in one motion of the tongue. 1. Ah is not speech. I don't know too many words that have only 1 vowel sound, do you? Okay, let's say if you were Russian or if you were Spanish, then there is 1 word, E. Still, it's kind of two sounds. You don't know about that, but I do. E, the tongue kind of does this motion. E, but that's about it. I don't know any other meaningful words, at least in English and Russian language that I speak, okay, that a person would need the skill of screaming vowels, separate vowels. One sound is not speech. It's not. One sound is not speaking. And what it is, come to me, I'll explain it to you. Okay. Person asked about the King's speech and left. Okay, not interested. So let's continue now. What else is here? So they are screaming, oops, they are screaming in the open window. Look at this.
Anyone who can shout vowels at an open window can learn to deliver a speech.
See what he said? You need to scream, shout vowels in the open window so you could learn to deliver speech. That was a wrong assumption. Again. And of course, it's the part where people go like, yeah, he's doing it, good for him. But I'm looking at it and saying, yeah, I guess it's good. But this is the reason he never learned to stop stuttering. No matter how hard he was working, no matter how much and effort and whatever energy he invested in this work, he never stopped stuttering. He continued to stutter till the moment he died. What's your YouTube channel? My name, Anna Dieter. Anna Dieter, my name, yeah. Or even if you go Live Stutter-Free, I guess you can find me. But yes, it's better if you Google Anna Dieter. Anna Dieter is the name of my YouTube channel. And when you get there, you'll see Live Stutter-Free on top. Okay, so let's continue. So you learn to deliver speech. Of course, you will never learn to deliver speech by screaming one vowel sound at a time. Never. And look at the reaction of people around. Look, I just want you to look at the guy, angry guy, shutting the window. He didn't want to hear this noise because they had no clue there was a king screaming. Today, we would get a mobile phone and start taking pictures or taking selfies, right, with the king. But back then, of course, people were angry at someone screaming so loudly and disturbing their life. Okay, so let's continue. What else is there? Okay, now he is beginning doing some other exercises. This I actually like a little bit because in this exercise, not getting up and down, of course, forget about all of this, but look at his mouth. He's actually, without realizing it, Lionel is training the king a little bit, at least a little bit, to move his tongue. The king is here pronouncing ringtones, but they don't understand what it is. They don't know what it is. But this is why it worked, at least partially. He a little bit kind of eased his speech after working with that guy. And again, back to E. Why? Okay, guys, I can go like this forever. And this is just crazy. But what I want you to see, I want you to look at the faces of the people around the king. People feel embarrassed. People feel not comfortable even being around the king. They don't understand why the royal person is doing such crazy things. They don't understand it because it doesn't make sense for normal people. It never made sense to me when I was a speech therapist for 30 years back in Russia. And then almost 10 years in the United States of America. It never made sense to normally speaking people that someone needs to breathe, needs to relax, needs to scream, needs to do whatever else they're teaching you to mother prolong something. It doesn't make sense. Okay? So this is why if you look at the faces of these people, look at them. They just want to run away, not to deal with this, not to be here. But they were forced to be here and listen to the king, right? They were just, okay, this is your job. You stay and listen to this screaming. And look at this lady's face. It just tells you everything. She's like, oh my God, why? What's weird? Okay. Or this guy, look, just not too much of intellect on his face, right? Maybe not that bright guy, but he like, what? He cannot say a simple word. Why is he screaming? Why is he doing this? People do not understand this. And so do people who, so do speech therapists, unfortunately. They do not know what normal speaking is and what exact muscles we need to train to learn to move in the correct way to eliminate any form of stuttering, stammering, cluttering, or whatever you call it. Okay, I think that's it. I didn't. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So I am not going to use the rest. Okay, see, it's an iMovie. I'm going to fill. What is this? Give me 1 second. View. Where is full screen? No, whatever. I can't. Can't see. I wanted to make it bigger. View. I don't know why it doesn't allow me to toggle full screen. Because I have to click on this. Okay, guys, bear with me. Okay, enter full screen. That's it. So that was the end of my presentation. And I'm gonna just, in summary, I want you to understand whatever we are doing today, Etalon Speech Unblocking is a continuation. It's the further development of the speech work started by Lionel Logue. He started this job and we just perfected it. We totally understand now what normal speech is, what speech muscles we need to learn to use, and what stuttering is, what is the mechanism of stuttering. And we know what to do. I can guide any person who stutters to stop stuttering in almost no time, as I mentioned, from 1 to 3 days. It doesn't have to be longer. You understand what to do, you just begin doing it. That's it. Okay, so now it's time for your questions, if you have any. Let me see. I've been online for 1 minute 28. Oh, 1 hour, 28 minutes. Okay, let me see if I have any questions. Okay, Mahmoud, do you have questions? I guess there are no questions, and it's enough for today. So let me simply tell you one more time. So if you want to really get rid of stuttering, if it's time for you, you gotta be ready. You gotta be willing to begin speaking like all people on the planet. I am ready to help you. I am here. But number one, you gotta value your time and my time. Value the time, because the time is something that we can never get back. Money, we can always earn more money, but we can never get back the time we wasted for struggling on things that we don't need to struggle with. We really don't. Okay? So if you want to get rid of stuttering, I am here to help. If you have a loved one in your family who stutters, I'm here to help. I'm here to guide you. So, and this is the way you need to go. I recommend you go. Of course, you do whatever you want. But my recommendation, you simply go to Live Stutter-Free, www.livestutterfree.info, okay? And you watch my webinar. The webinar will explain in details what are the specific 4 steps each and every my student out of thousands, each of my students has taken these 4 steps. What are they? They've been explained in the webinar. I promise you will leave this webinar and you're gonna like the webinar. You're gonna be emotional. You're gonna come to me. You're gonna be ready to start your work, to start the process of liberation. I'm already stuttering myself because I am tired. Okay, I've been so excited doing this live video. So once again, guys, if you have any questions about my presentation or about anything about speech, stuttering, if you just joined me recently and haven't watched my presentation from the very beginning, I do recommend after we wrap it up, go back and watch my presentation about the King speech and how the work of the speech therapist that was shown to us in this movie, presented in this movie. How does his work, how is it linked to the work that we do today, my mentor and I? Because it's all based on the muscle work. Yes, we work a lot with unblocking of the mind. Yes, psychological ingredient is also there, but when you begin moving your muscle correctly, you need to learn, you need the brain to understand it, right? So first we unblock your mind, so you would understand what to do. Then we unblock your tongue, you begin using your tongue, and then it kind of goes together. You finally realize it works. Wow, I speak in the way I have never ever spoken in my life. And this is what usually happens on the very first day of my class. Very first day. This is why today we even offer one-day courses to some of our students. We do recommend 3 days because only the 3-day program comes with 100% unlimited postgraduate support, 100% success guaranteed. And if you need more time with me, you get my time unlimited. I am available. Just think about it. Unlimited time of someone who knows clearly what speech really is, what stuttering really is. I know it. I see it. I've seen stuttering gone in thousands of people right in front of my eyes, together with my mentor. Of course, I've been doing it only for 10 years, and my mentor has been doing it for almost 30 years. So, what is this? I don't need install, remind me later. See what's going on. Where is the thing now? Now I need to look for it. It's right here, I guess. That's what they do on computers, right? All of a sudden, system update. I don't need to update now. I didn't ask you. Okay, my dear friends. So write to me, what would you like to talk about the next Saturday? I've decided I'm going to come live next Saturday again. I'm going to do it at least once a week on Saturdays, unless I have a student that I will be working with. If I have a student schedule, sorry guys, you're not going to see me here on Saturday. Okay, so when you don't see me, it means I'm working with a student, because weekend is the time when my students come to me most of the time. So lots of love to you, and don't you be stingy. Give me likes, give me your hearts on Instagram. Mwah. Talk to you next Saturday. Bye-bye. Okay, and broadcast on YouTube and broadcast.